Hello, I'm Rachel Maria Bell. I'm an astrologer, I'm a spiritual teacher, a writer, a psychic channel, a traveller of the quantum realms into other times and places, bringing those messages back here for you. So, hi, it's the 5th of December 2023 today, and this is my comeback video. Not to sound too dramatic, but for a little while now, I have been guided to come back and basically say my messages on YouTube again. Now, I never had a big following on YouTube at all. That's okay. Everything is perfect and timed as it should be. However, it was all a bit of an experiment, and so is this, but now I'm really okay with it being an experiment. I think I've had to release a lot of attachment to any outcomes and also detach from who might ever watch this video. And I truthfully, I honestly believe that the moment when you sit down and watch this particular video is the correct moment for you. And if you feel it's not, you're clicking off, you're going back on your remote or whatever. Yeah, you're going, no, this isn't for me. And if you're still here, then it is. I truly, honestly believe that. Now, the first thing that I wanted to say, there are a number of messages here, and I'm so conscious of my guides being here to help and guide this transmission today. I sat down this morning and I don't know what inner work you do, what personal development work you do, what are your methods of spiritual tuning in. We are all different, and I trust and hope and believe that people who are guided to me are intuitive enough to know themselves, to know their own best methods of tuning into their channel. And this morning I sat down with a blank piece of paper and a pen, and I asked, with the truthful, deepest intention of being utterly detached from the answer and the outcome, I asked myself, spirit, source, anybody who wants to answer, but I was tuned in to the highest of the high. I asked, why have I had so many attacks in my life? On many levels. I mean, like literally verbal attacks, personal attacks, physical attacks, stories made up about me kind of attacks, psychic attacks, spiritual attacks. Like, the list is kind of endless. And I asked, why have I had so many attacks? And I didn't ask this from a place of pity or victimhood at all. I was literally asking to get an answer. And the answer came through, and it was quite funny, really. I always kind of laugh when I get an answer that feels correct, because it brings joy, and truth always brings joy. And that's my guidance for knowing that I've received a message truthfully from Spirit. That is actually how I work. And quite often I see my guides laughing, they clap, they celebrate, they laugh, and it's the vibration of joy. And that's not how I know I'm tuned into the highest frequency. Okay. And the answer to why I have had so many attacks is because some of my messaging is delivered with a vibration of attack. Yeah. And I sat with it and I was like, oh yeah, I kind of get that. I get it. So I'm an astrologer, and obviously I know my own charts inside out. However, I do believe that however much we know ourselves, we also always have the ability to go deeper and higher and find more information that is also true, and that we are always existing at our current point of perceptual awareness. So, basically, I realised that quite often when I speak my truth as Aries Sun conjunct Mercury, which is like, it has the ability to pierce and blast away all manner of stagnancy and stuckness and what we might call, when people, it's not bullshit because everything's just different perceptual awareness, right? So I'm not attacking something as being, oh, that's wrong and I'm right. I don't mean it like that. I mean, when truth comes in and it goes like a, what do they call them? Like, like a lightsaber. It's like like that. When truth arrives in a laser beam, it has the ability to kind of cause a kind of, explosion really, of what has been stuck and stagnant. And what I observe about the human condition, and I say this as much for myself as other people, we're all the same. What I observe about the human condition is that we can get stuck in a moment that we can't get out of. And then we start to wade in the toxic quagmire of our own bullshit. And, you're kind of paddling about in it. And it's what's coming out of your mouth. It's what is in your thoughts. And it's also in your environment, and it's who you're keeping company with. It's what you're listening to. It's what you're listening to on the TV or on YouTube, or it coming through the mouths of the people you live with or the people you work with. And it literally is like quite a small vortex of the sameness. Because when we're vibrating on a particular frequency, we kind of on it and we become part of that spinning vortex. Everything's energy. And we're magnetizing people in to us who are going, yeah, I've been thinking this too, but you said it in a slightly different way, or I've been feeling this, or the message came through to me in this way, but you're saying it in another way, but I get what you mean. Yeah. So we magnetize people into us who are feeling that same frequency. And likewise, we basically just move ourselves away from people who cannot and will not vibrate on that frequency, because they're literally going, it's like you caught a different spaceship. And that's how it is. It's like we got on this particular craft of consciousness, and the people over here are like going, well, I'm in my craft of consciousness and we're in our craft of consciousness. And it's like, oh, there's no resonance. So those people just self-select out of your life. Now, what often happens is, and I get this totally, that if you are a person who, as part of your mission, legacy, ability, has the power to go with their laser beam of communication, if you're one of the, and we're in Sagittarius season, if you're one of the truth speakers who basically does the laser beam of blast away the bullshit, then the people who are the fallout from the shrapnel of that, they want to shoot the messenger because they're getting triggered. Now, when we get triggered by anything or anybody or any words or anything, we can literally just look at somebody and go, I fucking hate your face. Yeah, right. This is how it works. When we get triggered by something or somebody or whatever it is, that is always a signal to go, what do I need to ask about me? What is this showing me about the moment that I've got stuck in? What is it? Where have I got stuck in my world of the same thing, where I need to step outside of that because it's a construct that was put there And all that you're doing is drawing more people into that little vortex of sameness. So when something external comes in and it blasts open that, it's actually a very powerful call to awakening. It's a call to blast yourself open to your next layer of consciousness. Okay. Now, there are many answers to the question, why have I had lots of attacks? And it's really fine. It's kind of to bring me into that place of going, of course, I had to get really understanding of how many veils there are. I'm Gemini moon in the 8th house, which means my heart is really, really moon emotions, my heart and emotions are attached to and vibrating on. Let's dive deep into the logical meaning and a self-expression of what is that emotion? What's the emotion that I'm seeing at this layer of veil? This veil that came up that needs to be blasted through, what does that look like? And by speaking it into being, I blast through it. That is one of my greatest gifts, to be able to feel something that goes, oh, this feels horrible. It's coming in like a kind of attack. Hang on a minute. What does this mean? What does this mean for me? What does it mean? Okay. And this brings me on to one of the core messages that is true for me, that I say all the time and that I feel all the time and that I bring to others, is that our own valid experiences in life are completely true for us and nobody takes them away from us. Get so excited I'm moving the thing about. Nobody can take your truthful, valid experiences away from you, nor how you felt about it. No one takes away from you what you feel in your heart to be true and what your bodily awareness and your deepest intuition showed you and how you felt. What then is utterly subject to different people's opinions and logical meaning making, it's that next step, that meaning making. It's the Sagittarius part. When we then zoom out and we go, so what does that mean? That's where we all stand on our own. That's where we all get to be the total individual that we are and who we came to be. Because in that moment, in my here and now moment, I might be making meaning that tomorrow or next week I go, oh, I've got the upgraded meaning on that now. That thing that I thought today, that I thought, last week, that's true, but it's true for last week. And what's my truth now? And we get to ask that all the time. It doesn't take away the validity of the experience or the depth of emotion that you felt at the time. And what I've perceived online over these past few years, since my conscious awakening began, I will say, what I've perceived since my conscious awakening began is that people get very muddled up between what is true and valid for an individual. That remains, and that is not something to be ever attacked or diminished or mocked or ridiculed. Not ever. End of story. The meaning that we then go on to make of that, oh, that divides people. It divides people horrendously because everyone sees and processes through their own current layer of perceptual awareness. And that's also true. So if I come out of an experience that was profound for me, and then I tell you what my experience should mean for you, then I'm talking shit, right? I call myself out, I'm talking shit. And so is anyone who does that. because my experiences are for me. Your experiences are for you. So anyway, I realised that I have come to the end of my process of, it's like a big moment. It's a turning point moment, and that's why this is a comeback video, a comeback statement, because I am going to be showing up on YouTube in a whole different, in many different streams. Some of my videos will be aimed at people who are over here. Some of them will be aimed at people who are over here. Some of my messages will be quite, they might sound really affronting, challenging, and attacking. And I am owning that, because sometimes somebody needs to go in with the truth bombs and let them off and allow the explosions and the triggers to take place. Because there are many, so many people stuck in a moment that they can't get out of, and they're in their little bubble that they need to get triggered for that thing to be the awakening, right? And this is just how it works, and that's fine. That's fine. That is one of my purposes. You will also see me coming talking about astrology. Now, when I talk about astrology, I generally, particularly in my one-to-one readings, I'm pitching them at people who are already conscious co-creators of their own life. They are the creator. They are already successful, happy, take radical responsibility over themselves and their bullshit. They're not stuck in a moment. They understand the process of evolution. Therefore, when I come in with my laser beam, they're going, oh, thank you for that powerful little thing, that nugget of truth that you gave me that shifted me to my next level. Yeah. But if I'm directing that laser beam into a pocket of stuckness, those people come at me and, shoot the messenger. Why else do you think John Lennon's with me? Because that's always what happens. People shoot the messenger. Yeah. So basically, that was the comeback. And, I just want to say thank you to the people who used to watch me. There weren't that many. There weren't that many. But I tell you what, it's always quality over quantity, isn't it? And the people who came into my life when I was brave enough to get over my bullshit and actually just sit here and talk as real Rachel, marvelous, magnificent things happen. And I want to thank all of my spirit guides. I want to thank God and Source and Spirit, and most of all, me, for having the courage to stick with it and go with it. Okay, have a wonderful day. Mwah!